Hello, everyone, and welcome to the podcast. I'm your host, O'Neill, and today I have Nicole,
Hello. How you
Nicole
doing?
Anderson. How are you?
Fantastic. How you
I'm
doing?
doing well.
Great.
So I had the opportunity of connecting. We connected, and we had a photo shoot, an amazing photo shoot,
Lots
I
of
might
fun.
add. Yes,
Yep.
and I can't wait for people to see these photos, and hopefully they do get published. But it was an amazing session.
Absolutely.
And I think during that session, we were kind of talking about your journey and how you got involved in this industry. And I thought it'd be interesting to bring you on the show and let's have a little bit of a conversation surrounding your journey and the process of getting where you are right now. So, you know, the first thing I wanted to ask was, how did you get involved in fitness? Like, how is this your calling? Because I know that you do something else as a profession, but then you transitioned or you're transitioning into this. Can you kind of talk about, how did you get there?
Yeah. So I started in the gym just shortly after I gave birth to my daughter. So she is turning 13 in the next couple of weeks. And after I had her, I wasn't in the greatest place mentally. So being in that state, I had lost a lot of weight. I was actually underweight. I dropped down to about 97 pounds. And that's when the midwives told me, they're like, pretty sure you're suffering from some postpartum depression. So, you know, I was against taking the medical route, like taking pills or anything like that. So I decided, you know what, I'm going to fix this for myself. So I did my research and I'm like, okay, so lifting weights helps you to put on muscle mass, helps you to put on weight. Let me try that avenue. I had zero appetite. So once I started lifting weights, started increasing my appetite, and the depression started to go away actually. So that's really what got me into fitness, because once I put it on, there was no way I was about to lose it. So it became a habit and it became a lifestyle.
So what's going on with hairdressing? That's something that you're just transitioning out of right now and looking to focus on
I still
your
love
fitness?
hair.
Mm-hmm.
I love hair. I'm always going to love doing hair. But this world that we live in, you need multiple avenues of income.
Absolutely.
So being an entrepreneur, I actually have this rule for myself where if somebody asks me to provide
this.
a service
Mhm.
for the third time, by the third time, I say yes.
Yes.
And I'll make it a business because clearly there's a demand for it, right? So that's what happened with training. People kept seeing my results. People kept seeing my consistency. And I kept getting asked, Nicole, do you train? Do you do personal training? So by the third time I said, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I do.
So then was the birth of Muse Athletic. Can you kind of tell us about that? Like, when did that officially started? I know that
Yep.
you were training before on your own, and then people obviously asking you questions, and then
Yes.
it kind of transitioned into a business. So
Yes.
what's Muse Athletic all about?
Muse Athletics. Muse Athletics came from, I'm very big on self-love and appreciating yourself. And I feel like you can't really succeed in anything in life until you fix internally, until you really believe in yourself, love yourself the whole way.
Absolutely.
So Muse is the idea of being your own muse, making your body what you want it to be instead of looking outwards and saying, I want to be like her, or I want a body like that, or I want a life like that. Muse, the idea of it is to make yourself your ideal, to make yourself your own goals.
Okay, amazing. So you talked a little bit, I guess, about the philosophy. Is there any more to that philosophy or your personal philosophy as it relates to training
Yes.
or the
So
business? Sorry.
also with Muse, I put a big emphasis on mental health. That's also a big philosophy of my business. Is I feel like you can't really have one without the other. They're both tied together, the physical health and the mental health. So we use fitness to not only train our bodies, but to also train our minds. Because a lot of getting through these workouts, a lot of lifting these heavy weights, it comes from your mind. If your mind's not right, you're not going to succeed. So the two really go hand in hand. And all my clients know that if you're coming for a physical session, you're getting a mental session as well.
Right. And I think that is awesome. I think sometimes with my background, people often forget the importance of the mental health aspect of it. And like you said, to train and to lift and to put yourself through some of this, it requires a level of mental fitness and health itself.
Yes.
So it's great to hear that that is a part of the program when people are connected with you.
Absolutely.
So what should they expect if someone says, you know what, I want to be with Muse, I'm going to reach out, I'm going to connect with you. What should they expect from you as a trainer or coach?
I'm the type of coach where they should definitely expect to be pushed.
Okay.
Because one of the greatest things that I incorporate in my training is progressive overload. I feel like
Okay.
I know that is one of the most successful ways of getting people the results that they want. So just because you've mastered, curling the 10-pound weights doesn't mean that we're not going to be pushing the 12 and a halves next week.
Right.
And then the 15s the next week. So be prepared to always be challenging yourselves. You're never going to get comfortable in one state because every week there's going to be more. Yes.
That's good. And so the expectation is that you will be pushing them.
Absolutely.
as I think a coach should do, because you're trying to get them to reach to another level. That's why they're reaching out to you. And
right.
So that is part of the process. So with that being said, that's what they should expect from you. And then your expectation from them would be,
you got to show up.
You got to show up and be prepared and ready.
Yes. I always say my policy is not about getting your money. Mm-hmm. Because I have a policy where if you give me a last minute cancellation, I'm still charging you on the session.
Right.
And that's not for the monetary value. That's more so in your head that, okay, I can't cancel last minute. Otherwise, I'm wasting my money. I'm wasting people's time. That's to keep you motivated. Right? Because people will wake up, the morning of their session, say you have a 7 a.m. session, you wake up at 6:15 and you're like, ugh, I really don't feel like going today. You can't cancel. You're going to lose it.
Right.
So that's going to push you like, okay, you're going to get out of bed and you're going to show up.
So that's an interesting, I like that because it's about accountability also.
Yes.
But in regards to as the personal trainer or coach, I've had this discussion with other trainers, and is it your responsibility to motivate individuals, or is it more along the lines of keeping them accountable, teaching, showing the right techniques to do things and what the path needs to be? Or is it part of it motivational? Are you supposed to motivate them?
I will take some of the weight of the motivation, but I won't take it all. That's mainly on them. So when you decide to sign up, I see it as you've made a choice that you want to better yourself. You've made a choice that you're committing to making a change in your lifestyle. Life happens. We all have our ups and downs. I will be there to encourage you and keep you pushing throughout the way, but mainly that's on you.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
I like that word, encourage. Mm-hmm. So it's really providing encouragement along
Yes.
with the other things, the technique and a plan, but it's really encouraging and the motivation.
Because I can't want it more than you, right? It's your body. It's your life. This is the change you want to make. You've got to be the one that really, really wants it.
Right. And so part of this is because there's one thing about the physical aspect, about the working out, the techniques, the weights. We talked about the mental a little bit earlier, which is part of your philosophy when you're dealing with folks in your program. Nutrition. How important is that? Because I know there's, you just think it would be common sense that nutrition is a big part of it, but some people feel that you could do the training without the nutrition, or you do the nutrition without the actual training. So if you eat right and don't exercise, you're going to reach um, your optimal space or where you want to be, your outcome. What's your take on that? How important is nutrition, and do you work with individuals as it relates to their nutrition?
Yes. Nutrition is extremely, extremely important. And unfortunately, people get into training, get into working out thinking that, okay, I'm going to be a cardio bunny. I'm going to be on the elliptical, on the
Cardio
treadmill
bunny?
for,
Okay, I never heard
yeah,
of that. Okay,
that's a popular term.
okay.
Or I'm going to be on the treadmill for an hour and I'm going to lose all this weight. Unfortunately, that's not how it works. You can be in the gym every day, lifting like crazy, cardio like crazy. If your nutrition doesn't match, you're never going to see the results that you want. You can be extremely strong, pushing 300 pounds on the leg press, but still have a ton of excess fat. You can still have the big belly. You can still have the big back.
Mm-hmm.
And be pushing more weight than everybody else in the gym. It's because your nutrition isn't matching up. The two have to go hand in hand.
You know, when you mention all that, what's more difficult? Like, what requires more discipline, the nutrition or the actual physical activity or
That's
exercise?
a very good question. I'm an energizer bunny. I have so much energy. I will move all day and not get tired. So for me, working out is a lot easier. I can do that every day, no problem. Nutrition, again, we're getting into mental. Nutrition is mental. People have a serious addiction to food. So what we're doing is we're cutting an addiction, we're cutting a habit. So that takes a lot of mental strength, which, people can struggle with, because it's half the time it's not even necessarily that you're hungry, it's just cravings that you're dealing with. It's sometimes having to teach yourself how to cook all over again, because the way you know how to cook is use this oil and these ingredients and this box instead of using single ingredient food. So it's a whole new avenue that has to be taught. And people don't realize that. They think, oh, well, I eat healthy, so I should
Mhm.
lose the weight. No, not necessarily. Because as much as nutrition is important, also your macros are important.
Mhm.
So people will tell me all the time, like, oh, I eat such a healthy diet, but I'm not losing the weight. And I tell them, I'm like, it's very scientific. You have to be in a calorie deficit to lose body fat. So you can eat the healthiest foods all day, every day. If you're not in a calorie deficit, you're still not going to lose the weight.
You said something interesting. Single ingredient.
Single ingredient foods. Yes. So that is.
I've never heard that. Talk about
Yes.
it. Yeah.
So rice. You look on the ingredients, you get one item. There are certain, like say porridge. You look at cornmeal, there's one ingredient. You look at oats, there's one ingredient. Those are single ingredient foods. Carrots, that's one ingredient. So those are the safest, healthiest foods for our body and the easiest to digest. So once you get into, say, you want to buy a box of French fries.
Yes,
She
like
told me she told me I need to eat potatoes, so let me
Yes.
eat French fries. No, you
But it's
look on
potato. But go
no,
ahead.
you look on the back of the McCain package and you've got an ingredient list about this long. And unfortunately, we used to be able to eat these things quite frequently and be all right. There wasn't so much obesity, but these ingredients have changed so much over the years. We'll say even just over the past 10 years, even down to the McDonald's French fry. McDonald's French fry used to have an ingredient list of, maybe 10 to 12 items. Now that ingredient list goes like 20 different things deep that you can't pronounce. So even though you can say, oh, but I used to eat these things all the time when I was a kid and I never gained weight and I never had excess fat. Guess what? Those things that you were eating then, they may look exactly the same, come in the same box, but the ingredients are completely different. It's like, it's a big statement to make, but it's like this country is progressively poisoning us more and more and more over time.
You know what? Maybe it's been said before, but
Mhm.
that really caught my interest. Where a single ingredient, and that would be
Yes.
helpful, and just even if I'm not training or anything, but something to remember
Yeah.
because I'm going to remember this.
Yes. Good. I'm happy to
Okay,
hear that.
look at that.
Happy to hear
Um,
that.
just to tack on to what we were talking about a little bit earlier in terms of when you meet with someone, how would you create a plan for them? Like, what's involved with the nutrition and with the physical aspect of it? How would you create that or put that together? Do you meet with a client and do a
Yes.
consultation? So how does that work?
So I always get them to fill out just a short intake form to start so that I can get the information I need for our consultation. Then we'll have our first little chat where, we'll discuss your goals, and some of them have a timeline that they're aiming for. So we'll discuss your timeline and from and your availability, how often you're willing to put in time at the gym
Mm-hmm.
so that I can make a plan for your fitness and your nutrition to go together. If you want to say, oh, I want to be in a bikini with a flat stomach
Yes.
by my birthday in June.
Yes, that's me.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll know, okay, we need to put you in a more aggressive calorie deficit to get that weight off in time for, your goal date. Whereas if it's just, oh, I want to feel lighter. I want to have more energy. I want to be able to go up and down the stairs without being out of breath. So we're developing like a lifestyle change. Then, we don't have to go in so much of an aggressive calorie deficit, and we can just kind of ease into the lifestyle change. So it all depends on what their goals are and how quickly they're willing to reach them.
So that's interesting because out of curiosity, who usually comes to you? Like what individuals that are looking to change their physical lifestyle and be a little bit more healthy? What individuals usually come to you, or who do you usually attract?
I attract 90 say 97% women. So I get a lot of women that are on mat leave. So after they've given birth to their child, they're like, okay, I don't like the way I look. I want to do something about it. And I actually really love when they do that, because then we have a good solid 8 months or so where we can work on really developing the habit and getting in the routine of, creating this different lifestyle.
Okay, but you do attract athletes and
Yes,
other individuals, but the main
everybody
group that comes to you,
is mostly women. Yes, but I have trained men as well,
yeah,
and I don't prefer one over the other.
yeah,
I anybody. I love to train everybody.
yeah. And what's interesting, the group or the demographics that come to you, you talk about your story and what you experienced after um, your pregnancy or your birth of your child and getting into fitness. And there's just that natural connection that you can relate even more,
Yes,
even on a deeper level to those individuals.
absolutely. Um, even as far as people that haven't gone through it but know people going through it. Like, I remember this year I encountered this mother as a client, and her daughter had just given birth to her first child, and she was suffering from the postpartum depression. But the mother didn't understand what she was going through, or didn't understand how much of a real thing it is, because people will devalue the diagnosis all the time. And, oh, it's not a real thing. Like, that's your baby. Why wouldn't you love your baby? That's not how it is. So even just being able to explain to her the process and what I went through, and saying, don't worry, just give it time. She will come out of it. Because, she's a mom. She's our mom. So she starts getting worried. Like, is she going to be like this forever? Is she ever going to get better? Do I need to do something about it? Say, no, just give it time. She is getting better, and she will get fully back to herself. But yeah, a lot of I think it happens more commonly than we realize. Sometimes women may have some symptoms and not even realize what they're going through, not realize why they're feeling down, why they have no energy, why they're not motivated. So even just being able to educate them on the possibilities, share with them what I've gone through so that they can relate, so that they can feel better about the state that they're at is, I think, is a great reward for what I do as well.
As you're talking, just so many things are running through my mind because I've had a couple of people who said they would love to have like a group and talk about this because there's so many women. Some of them they're suffering or going through it right now,
Yeah.
and so many people that they know that are going through it, and they don't know how. They're like, oh, just brush it off. Like, why would you be? And it's deeper than that. And so, I've been thinking about, in the future of doing, bring together 3 individuals who have experienced certain things and how they get through it and how you know educate folks on what to look for when a loved one or someone you care about is experiencing something like this. It's more common than we expect or we think that happens. Yeah.
I think a good way to describe it is like putting a magnifying glass on any little, even the smallest insecurities that you had prior to your child. Afterwards, when that depression hits, it's like a magnifying glass on every single insecurity that you've ever had, just weighing down on you at once. Plus, now you're responsible for this human being, the most fragile human being that, has your entire heart. I don't know how else to describe it other than that
Hmm.
way. So, doing things that will encourage you to appreciate yourself more, to acknowledge, that you're a great person, that we've all been through things, that, you're exactly where you need to be, and to be confident again. I think that that's the greatest thing that you can put your time into when you're going through something like
Wow. I could talk about this for hours. I just find it
that.
very interesting. And I think there needs to be more conversation surrounding it. So I'm glad that you touched on that. I think that is so important. And like you said, part of your training, especially with the demographics that you're working with, um, I just think how much more powerful to have someone like yourself who's gone through it and understanding someone who may be going through it and being able to identify that is really good to encourage. Um, so that's awesome. So, like I said, I may call you back to have a conversation with some other individuals surrounding that because I
That would
think
be
it's
great.
it's a great topic to discuss. Um, Now, in your perception and what you've been seeing, have you noticed any negative or positive trends as it relates to people's health um, within the last maybe 5 years that you're seeing more and more of that are positive, or even more and more things that might be negative impacting people's health?
Uh, I try to always look at the glass as half full, not half empty, but social media is really changing a lot.
Yeah.
So there's this certain body type, body figure that's circulating all over the internet. You have to have the thickest hips and nice thick thighs and the thick behind.
Hmm.
And, some women are naturally shaped like that. Beautiful, great. But majority are not. So I see a lot of women in the gym, or I get a lot of clients coming to me saying that they want this figure, but they don't realize that certain part of the bodies actually don't have muscle. Hips have no muscle. Hips are straight fat. So if you want to be healthy, if you want a healthy lifestyle, if you want proper nutrition, if you want a flat stomach, you have to cut your body fat. And I try to explain to them that I can't grow your hips. All of these influencers on the internet are saying, oh, do this exercise, do that exercise, and you'll get rid of your hip dips, or your hips will get wider. This was my hips before. Now this is them, all nice and wide and round. That's a lie.
Hmm.
There's no muscle. So it's impossible to work that area and have it grow. It's just fat. So in order to achieve that, that goes back to nutrition, that goes back to your diet. So I refuse to promote a lifestyle, promote a diet that's not healthy. And that's not what people are realizing, is that to achieve these looks, um, you've got to move backwards in your health.
Wow. Man, I'm learning a lot today.
Yes.
This is okay.
Right.
So yeah, definitely social media is playing a part in so many different things. But when I speak with individuals that are in fields similar to yours in health, they're saying it's really having a negative impact
Big time.
on people's self-esteem, trying to compete and look a certain way. I mean, that has always been there. It's not nothing new under the sun, but with the access of the internet and people all over the world, it's becoming more and more of an issue, and it is really playing with people's mental health.
Big time. A lot of the images and videos you see are edited.
Hmm.
Number one, I've even seen this one influencer that I followed. I don't follow her anymore now because of this. But she was just, in the change room in the mirror, post workout, kind of just showing her angles, and you saw her waist cinching app glitch. I guess she didn't notice when she posted it, but her waist was looking this big in the video, and when it glitched, it went to about that.
Oh wow, okay.
So here I was, watching her training, watching her routines, thinking like, okay, clearly what she's doing is working. Like, wow, because that's what I was most amazed at about her figure was her waist. Meanwhile, it was all a lie. So imagine how much people are being tricked by the internet thinking that these body types are realistic when they're completely not.
Wow. So I wanted to ask you a question with the industry and everything that's going on here in the Greater Toronto area, because that's where we are. Um, with all these different types of gyms, they have different processes, they have different ways of doing things based on the gym that you go to. Um, I just want to get your feeling on that. Like, there's different gyms that specify or are very specific to certain things, or there's a way to do it. What's your take on that?
So I think that falls back into trends.
Hmm.
And, we live in a world of marketing. Marketing is very powerful. So a big trend now is, say, Pilates. So everybody's getting into Pilates. Oh, I want a Pilates body, this and that. But weight training and developing these ideal bodies that these women are aiming for, I promise you, cannot be achieved through Pilates alone. These ideal bodies that they're seeing in Pilates, I can almost guarantee that these women also lift weights. So into that also falls the circuit training, the HIIT training that you see happen, say, F45, Orange Theory, that people are really gravitating towards now because it's convenient, which is great. You can go in any time, do a class, 45 minutes, you're in and out. You don't have to think about it. But what they don't realize is that these circuit type trainings are never going to push your muscles to the degree that they need to be pushed
Hmm.
in order for you to actually grow and see the results that you want.
Hmm.
Everybody wants to be toned, be cut, nice and lean. These forms of training are good as a start. If you're looking to get in the habit, if you're looking to, get more active, move your body, it's a good start, but literally just a start. At the end of the day, weight training is always going to have the biggest benefit. Weight training is always going to be the avenue that's going to give you the results that you want. Weight training is always going to be the avenue that's going to give you that longevity of functionality for your muscles that we all want at the end of the day. We want to be able to, in our old age, bend down and tie our shoe without,
Yes, trust me.
popping a hip. We want to be able to go up and down the stairs. We want to be able to pick up our grandchildren. We want to be able to get out of bed without a struggle.
Mhm.
All of this is going to come from weight training, even down to our bone density. Our bone density tends to be the first thing to go in our old age. I believe it's as early as your 30s. Once you hit 30 or even younger, maybe even 25, is when your bone density starts to decrease. That alone is why you see so many women, I shouldn't say just women, so many people in their old age having to deal with knee surgeries and hip replacements and all that. That's going to be reduced significantly through weight training. Whereas these circuits and Pilates, they're cute. You see the trend, you get the cute outfits and all that. They're fun to do, but they're not going to give you the results.
Mm-hmm.
And I wish more people knew that.
Yeah. So what you're saying is that it's not bad.
It's
It
not
is
bad.
something, but you're saying it's a start.
Mhm.
But to really get the results that you need
Yes.
is really weight training.
Yes, to really get the benefits that you need for your body, for the
Longevity.
functionality of life.
Yeah.
You need to weight train. Our muscle mass starts to decrease in our 30s drastically. And we need muscle mass for everything. So as that's decreasing, you need to be increasing it.
Mm. And when you say like weight training, it's like it depends on your age too. Like you could weight train, but you varied the weights. That's why it's important to have a personal trainer or coach to
Yes.
make sure that, okay, you shouldn't be lifting that. That's too heavy. That could cause
Yes.
more problems
Yes.
than it can create something positive. So it's just being mindful of that. But at any age, you can lift weights. I was talking to someone
Any
else,
age.
another trainer. He was saying, yeah, weight training he prefers that.
Mhm.
Like you said, that nothing's wrong with the other stuff, but weight training would give you, like you said, the results that you really want. And
Absolutely.
it doesn't matter how old you are, you could still lift, even if it's
Absolutely.
5 pounds.
Yes. Any type of weights. I steer away from ego lifting. You don't have to
Ego
be
lifting.
ego lifting. I can't lie, I've fallen into it a few times, but I quickly snap out of it when I feel some snap, right?
Okay.
But lifting weights doesn't mean you have to be lifting incredibly heavy. I actually steer away from certain exercises doing too heavy, because at the end of the day, I'm trying to put longevity on my joints, on my muscles, on my functionality moving around in life. I'm not trying to decrease it. So say a deadlift. Deadlifts can be pretty taxing on the back, on the spine.
Yeah.
So with that, stay away from any type of ego lifting,
Right.
because I feel like in the long run, that's going to do more harm than good. You don't need to be lifting crazy weights to get the benefits from that exercise.
Okay. Unless you're in that as a sport.
Right.
That's different. But I guess for the everyday person, yeah.
Yes.
Wow. Okay. So Nicole, there's so much I learned today, really, and I'm not just saying that. There's things that good reminders, even for me or for anybody that's listening, in terms of just little things that you can do. The single ingredient, all these things are really good tips. And I could just imagine if anybody registers or gets to work with you, all this knowledge gets
Plenty
passed
of
on.
knowledge to share. Plenty.
So if someone wants to reach out to you, how do they reach out to you? Like, what's your email address or website, Instagram,
Yes.
your social media? How can people reach out and, see what you're doing and also register and maybe work with you
Yes.
or have you work with them?
So social media has been the best avenue that people have been reaching me through. I'm on Instagram as Nikki Has It All, as well as the same handle on TikTok. And I also have a website connected to both of those, which is museathletics.ca. So
It's on your shirt. I love Muse
athletics.
Mm-hmm.
So on the website, you'll have access to all the intake forms. There's intake forms for the nutritional guidance. There's intake forms for the personal training. And that way you're able to set up consultations with me and get in touch with me directly.
Okay. You all heard that. Um, yeah, that's amazing. So I just want to say thank you for coming on and spending a little time with us and just giving us a little bit of what you do and how people could connect with you and just, sharing your knowledge. And I hope to have you on again. Like I said, there's another topic that you touched on that I would love to explore even more and even follow up with a session in the gym. See you at work.
Okay.
You're not going to be training me though.
Got my hopes up.
But no, honestly, I would love to come in and just to see whether it's with, maybe it is me, I don't know, just to see the type of, how you work and, so people can see what it looks like.
Yeah, absolutely. I would love that.
Okay, all right. Well, once again, thank you for being on, and everybody take care.